In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to of Marketing in the Age of AI. We get a great chance today to learn about integrating and how we should be using storytelling in the marketing that we're doing as the ground. Because today we're joined by Dan Grech, who is the founder and CEO of BizHack, which is a company for thousands of business owners and marketers. Amazing and awesome conversation, so he can tell us about his unique blend of storytelling and digital marketing and how we should be using it in with these tools that we have now. Dan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Well, I sure appreciate you spending time today to have this conversation. I think it's amazing that you as a journalist that you've taken the skills that you learned there in order to have a presence in the marketing area. My background in radio was problem solution call to action. That was the story that approach the storytelling in marketing.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. And so you have a little bit of a radio background yourself, commercial radio?
Yeah, I did. I worked for a company called Crane that is a radio manufacturer, and then videos on the radio shows. Some of those, the Art Bell, Nori, those programmers. And we did lots of radio ads. I voiced radio ads, and I wrote thousands of them.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So I was on the news side of radio, public radio, NPR. I worked as a correspondent and news director. So I was on the more of the journalistic side, but now have transitioned in the second part of my career into the kind of marketing and advertising piece, and bring a lot of what I learned as a journalistic storyteller into the work of helping small businesses grow using marketing. And I think at the core of the technique that we use is what we called your business story. And your business story has two components. The first is the story of the origin of the business and the founder's story. And then the second is the core purpose, or why the business, or how the business makes the world a better place, what its larger purpose is. And you can kind of think of it as the one story is that really gritty, foundational story that's at the base of every great creative act. And then the other is sort of what is the larger, lofty goal and purpose of the company. And so pretty much everybody who does business, whether they're conscious of it or not, is trying to understand those two components of every business. Who is the owner? What are their values? Why did they found it? And then what is the purpose of the business? Beyond just making a buck or solving a customer problem. Like, what's the larger problem they're looking to solve? So we coach businesses in how to do that through our training. But obviously the business story is just the foundation of your marketing. It's not all of your marketing. And so then we give them a systematic process for generating leads and sales, which we call the lead building system.
Yeah, I found that for whatever reason, small business owners who are probably over about 45 5 have a hard time wanting to talk about themselves, wanting to talk about what they're into and supporting. To tease that out is a challenge sometimes. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you notice any other like trends? You said over 45, so folks of sort of like I'm right in that generation. I've also noticed that sometimes men struggle a little bit more with telling their authentic story than women. And what I've noticed is, regardless of whether you want to tell that story, your audience, particularly the younger generation, essentially requires it. And the way that consumers are today is they are in search desperately for authenticity, and they're looking for reasons to buy local. It's so easy to go to Amazon or to buy from the big 5 tech companies, and yet we all recognize that the local businesses are what give us our community's flavor, and we want to support them. And so what a business story does is it really gives you a reason to believe and trust that this business owner is in it for the right reasons, and that the business is doing good in the world. And almost every small business, almost by definition, is doing something good in the world. If it weren't, it wouldn't have survived.
For sure.
And so, it's the one other thing I'll say. Not only do our audiences require it, but almost every small business, under, let's say, $10 million a year in revenue is really a Me Too business. In other words, it's a business that looks substantially like its competition. Every restaurant, literally every restaurant, is a Me Too restaurant. Like, there are very few that have truly unique qualities. And so one of the only, if not the only thing that you have as a business that's truly unique is your story. And so you got to leverage it in your marketing.
I love it. I agree with you so much. I think that, two things. One is that people our age, Gen X, we were kind of trained that you kept your personal life personal and your business life was told. So I think that's the thing that for some of us to overcome is that initial training that we got, right? Then the time has shifted to we have to all be the social CEO and tell these stories, and that's like you're talking about the authentic marketing to the younger generation Z's particularly. I imagine alphas are going to be very similar to that as well. And that's what I wrote about the social CEO and trying to get people used to the idea you've got to be Elon Musk and Richard Branson and Kylie Jenner and emulate the best practices of showing how the sausage, quote unquote, and then telling what you're interested in and why kids play soccer and how you support the soccer team and all these things that humanize you.
I love it. Yeah, the social CEO, social media, right, which is embedded in this idea of the social CEO, really exposed what I think has always been there. When you were in a small town and you were, patronizing the local hardware store, and you were greeted from the counter by the owner or the owner's family, you do not tell me that wasn't a human-to-human personal connection. When you walked in to the diner on the little main street in the small town, and you were greeted by the same waitress that had been there for the last 35 years, you tell me that this isn't a social enterprise, that this isn't a human-to-human connection.
Right.
And so whatever kind of stiff upper lip, anonymous small business, dehumanized website with no human beings mentioned, is some kind of weird relic of an age that never really existed. And, it's usually just, if anything, a reflection of, a business owner that probably prefers to be more like a Wizard of Oz, kind of behind the curtain. And what social media was it was like Toto, that like took it in its teeth and opened the curtain and exposed who was behind the curtain. But the truth of the matter is, if you allow yourself the luxury, let's say, of anonymity in your small business, you are putting yourself at risk as a business, because people won't feel connected to you and they'll just go with the more convenient or lower cost option. And then now, especially, speaking about AI and marketing, potentially the robot driven option. So I don't really see this as optional. The way I like to think of it is, when you started your business, you were a pie maker. You thought you were just going to, make pies, and that was what you were going to do when you started your pie making business. And then you realized, oh my God, I got to do payroll. I have to hire people. I have to manage people. And yes, I have to be the public face of this company and do a lot of selling. And you probably didn't know you were signing up for that, but that is part of essential to the seat. Essentially, to be a social CEO is part of the role of CEO today.
Yep. No, I agree. Well, I'm interested to hear about if you're integrating, or how you're integrating AI and the various LLMs into the work that you're doing with either to market, to get your clients, small business owners, or to help small business owners understand how to use these tools to their benefit.
Yeah. So LLM, or large language models, like ChatGPT, which is the best known, but there's also Claude and Gemini and Meta.ai and Grok, which is Elon Musk's. They're all out there. All of them have their own benefits. So as we transition from talking about the business story to talking about marketing more broadly, the one point I'll make is, it almost goes without saying that perhaps the most human thing we can do in marketing is tell our story. And AI cannot tell that story for us. It would be almost nightmarish to try to imagine getting ChatGPT to tell your own story. What rather, a large language model like ChatGPT can do is help you get noisy about it, help you format it in different ways, help you accelerate the process of writing emails or creating bio paragraphs or incorporating it into your social media. So for us, telling that authentic story is an essentially human activity, because it's all kind of up here in your head. It usually comes down to telling a story about your life that no AI could ever do for you. But once you have that story documented, once you understand why you do what you do and why it matters, then you can use AI to get really noisy about it. And so that's what we focus a lot of our training on at BizHack. Is we run courses and do coaching and offer great both recorded and live experiences to help people identify their business story and then use it to generate leads and sales.
Awesome. So you're picturing it, or you're placing it in the amplifier role at this point in the way you're deploying something like Claude.
When it specifically comes to your business story, 100%. But then, we talk about the 6 pillars, and I'll just go quickly through them and talk about how AI can help with each one. So,
I like it.
Okay, you have your business story, you know why you're doing this, but look, ultimately it's not about you, it's about them, as they say in the book Story Brand by Donald Miller, a great book about storytelling in business. You're the guide, they're the hero, right? You're there to serve them. You're there to solve some unmet need or problem that they have. Great. But, if you're Luke Skywalker, you don't just hire any random person off the street to teach you the Jedi tricks, right? You vet Obi-Wan or Yoda to make sure they're qualified. Well, if you're going to be the mentor, the guide, the Yoda, you need to make sure that you make a case for why you're the right Yoda to pick, because they have lots of Yodas they can choose from. But okay, so now you've picked us as your Yoda, and then what we're now doing is we're really speaking to our ideal customer and asking them, telling them, articulating their pain and their unmet need, and then helping them solve it. And so the 6 pillars are, first of all, what is your objective? Your objective is, usually, like if it's a video ad, to get them to watch your video, or if it's a landing page, to get them to fill out the form. It's how do you measure success metrically, right? All marketing starts with data. Whether you're a technical marketer or a creative marketer, you need to have a very clear definition of success. So that's sort of how do you know that, like, what is the campaign objective? Then the next two are the core of our marketing strategy, which is who is your ideal customer, your target audience, and what is the irresistible offer you're going to give them in exchange for them giving you their contact information, right? Like, we focus on lead generation. That's what most businesses are looking for, rather than like e-commerce. And in any lead generating business, any business where you're trying to get people contact information for a sales call or a sales interaction, you need their contact information. And what are you going to give them? Whether it's free information or a discount, what's your irresistible offer to get that information? That's the core of your strategy. That's really, at essence, what marketing strategy is. Who's your ideal customer and what are you giving them? Now, then, in order to do that, you got to get noisy about this offer, right? And that's through visuals, particularly video and text, compelling messaging. And so that's really where AI shines, is it can really help you amplify and basically almost become like an extra hand to help you create video, audio, and text to accompany this great offer that you have. And then finally, the customer journey. That's the last pillar. So the customer journey is, how do they go from stranger, never having heard of you, to sale, somebody who's actually going to be generating revenue for you. And that ties right back into the campaign objective. Each step on the journey of a customer going from stranger to sale has a campaign and 6 pillars associated with it. So for instance, you run a Facebook ad. The goal is to get them to click to your landing page. The landing page is a form. The goal is to get them to fill it out. The email address that you collect, you then send an email with a call to action. The goal is to get them to click that call to action. Each of those has the 6 pillars. It's at the foundation is your core story, and AI can help with every single one of those pillars, whether it's analyzing, the success of the results, whether it's helping you define with clarity who your target audience is and where they hang out online, whether it's brainstorming around what your irresistible offer should be and creating the assets around that, whether it's creating visuals or text, whether it's mapping out the customer journey. All of those AI can be a great companion for you with.
I love the 6 pillars, and I love that the 6 pillars are replicated in each of the tactics. So that's a powerful sure. And I'm curious who your ideal clients are in terms of, is it industry specific, manufacturing? Who are the clients that you're looking for?
Yeah, so we focus on small and medium-sized businesses that are primarily focused on generating leads. And in distinction from e-commerce. E-commerce is really, it's like sales and marketing are smushed together. It's like a different beast. All of the convincing has to be done through digital means. It's a challenge, challenging area, and one that we don't specialize in. But if you are a lead generating business evaluates leads, and that basically is most small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses. We serve you, and we serve B2B and B2C, direct to consumer businesses, like a storefront, like a yoga studio or a home services company, or, B2B who sell to other businesses who then reach their end user that way. We believe ultimately that marketing is human to human. And so even if you sell mostly to governments, right, and have to put together RFPs, understanding what your government buyer is looking for and leveraging AI to help write that RFP, to help put together the documentation you need to get that contract and fulfill it, all that fits within the rubric of what we specialize in. There's a couple other criteria we have. Startup businesses that don't have an established product market fit are not in our core. We really like small businesses that know there is an audience for a customer for what they're selling. So that's what we mean by product market fit. And then really, really small micro businesses, let's say 100,000 to $250,000. The marketer is going to be the owner. Then they get into this new phase where they're going to hire someone to help them, maybe with social media or to write emails. We can serve both those type clients. What the one criteria that we really care about is growth mindset. Like if you're barely able to, put together a P&L or find your way to the exit door, if you can't, if you're just stuck in the muck of the day-to-day of your business, you may not really be ready to market. But if you've kind of gotten the basics covered and you're now ready to get noisy and to grow, that's really who we specialize in. So that growth mindset, and then teaching them how to think like a marketer. Use a baseball analogy. The greatest baseball hitters of all time did not get a hit 6 out of 10 times. And I think that marketing is kind of similar. Marketing is a test and learn, high level of failure. Even things that work today might not work tomorrow because the technology shifts, the audience shifts. So you have to be in the mindset of testing and learning and recognizing that you're going to constantly have to evolve your marketing, and teaching that mindset to type A, perfectionist, busy business owners is not always easy. So that's a big part. It's the skill set of how to use AI, this incredible tool to accelerate your lead generation. And then there's the mindset of being patient and recognizing that things may not work the first time.
Yeah, that's why I love that book, Ready Fame, right? So we want to get a campaign going and get it out in the marketplace because nobody's smarter than adjusting and turning bolts as the continues.
Absolutely. Yeah, the tools are relatively easy to learn.
Yeah.
This was true even in when we run a course in meta advertising, and the Meta, Facebook advertising platform is learnable by any business. I mean, I remember we had a business owner. We had an 80-year-old come in. I sat next to him as he logged into Facebook for the first time, and within 8 weeks, he was running sophisticated ads on Facebook and LinkedIn. So
nice.
It can be learned. Sometimes, with a lot of dedication. The technology tools around artificial intelligence, particularly these large language models like ChatGPT, way easier, frankly. It's very exciting because it's much more accessible even than Facebook advertising was, which was the best sort of starting point we had before AI to quick learning for marketing. So the tools are relatively easy to use. It's how to use them well and how to use them strategically. That's actually really at the core of what we teach, which is first, have it at a foundation of your business story articulated and understood. It's your main differentiator. It makes you different than everybody else. And then how to use the tools so it's not just a series of random acts of marketing. Because even if you're doing 10x more activity, 10x of 0 is 0. So if it's just random spaghetti on the wall, more spaghetti on the wall isn't necessarily going to help.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love the authentic story as the core and foundation, and that's probably the most powerful thing for people to learn as they're, what you're saying, as they're looking to grow and differentiate.
When you wrote the social sorry, just real quick. When you wrote the social CEO, what did you find in terms of people's receptivity to it, and also just how it helped the businesses that really embrace the role of social CEO, how it helped them?
Yeah. Let's see. So I patterned my book after a book that was called The Social CEO. So it's what I found was that people are either all in or they're reluctant, and you have to room into it. And so everybody's familiar with the big, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank and all these big branded people. But sometimes, when you're running them, not thinking that they're as interesting or as valuable as being the focus in the same, right?
Yeah. So there's a sense that, I have one of my favorite stories is about a guy who runs a mosquito control company. and it's a franchise. So a franchisee for pest control. And, you might think that it doesn't really matter, that, just the anonymous sprayer versus one that's like a local business doesn't matter. But it does, right? You're inviting them into your home space. You're asking them to help protect you from, a pest. And ultimately, given a choice, most of us would prefer to support a local business than
Sure.
A large anonymous chain. And so as he started to tell his business story, the reason why he got into the pest control business, his business grew, and it's now the top 5 largest franchise of Mosquito Joe nationally, generating more than $3 million a year in revenue in one territory. So it's really worked. It's worked. Even as new competition has come, he's retained his customers, because not only does he tell the story effectively, but he recruits based on the story. The values behind the story run through the entire organization. It's not just the foundation of your marketing. It's not just a pretty story. It's really the foundation of your business.
Well, I love the philosophy that you're working on, Dan, and I would like to know how people get into you if they want to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, it's BizHack Academy, and we have a course that is specifically an 8-week course specifically designed for small business owners and their marketing staff. And you can learn more about that at bizhack.ai. And we also have a whole bunch of recorded courses and other free resources on our main website, bizhack.com. And you can also follow me and the whole team. We have more than 80 instructors teaching around the world at BizHack Academy on social media. And I would definitely encourage folks who are interested in kind of dipping their toe to check out our YouTube channel. We give away a ton of incredible master classes. That's at BizHack Academy on YouTube.
That's outstanding. Well, I appreciate that, Dan. I appreciate the work you're doing to help the small business, which is the backbone of our economy, and it's only 17% of us, which is amazing. I appreciate the work you're doing. I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for taking some time.
Well, Emmanuel, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for everything you're doing for AI-powered marketers around the world. We're grateful to your dedication and look forward to continuing following the success of the podcast.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. Sorry.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.